Hi, friends and fellow Earth Angels. It's Gladys, and welcome back to another one of my weekly Sunday card readings. And this spread will start by covering September 13th to the 19th. Or whenever you're guided to watch, as I always intend these to be timeless readings, meaning you can come back to receive guidance, insight, and wisdom anytime. I find that these readings, sometimes it literally affects us, and then if we revisit the readings over and over again, we can find deeper and deeper meanings into the layers of the words that are used. So before I started the reading, as I was creating my own sacred space, I saw a marching band on a football field. And the tubas, the drums, the flutes, all going. Noise. Harmony, but it can create noise. And I believe we're going into a period where the noise of the world and our own healing is going to get louder and louder. I may have said this in the last week's reading or the week before, but I want to say it again, is that in order for things to change, we need to see what needs to be changed. So those of you on this spiritual journey, your transformation, that which needs to change, evolve, and grow is going to get louder and louder. And you're constantly being reminded to go back within the self for wisdom. I know this is a kind of a bold statement, but I still feel like it rings true that the age of the psychic fortune teller energy is going to start phasing out, and intuitives and healers, their work is going to start evolving, where we help people on their spiritual journey through our own growth on our spiritual journey. So the times of telling people what to do and what is in their future, I find that it's getting more and more heavy and dense for those people that are doing that work. Now, it's not a bad thing at all. It's just the energy on the planet as a whole is up-leveling, and our role is changing in the sense where we're here to empower others and teach them how to access the wisdom within the heart. And this is where you're seeing a lot of the shifting in the divine feminine energy, which is your wisdom, intuition, receptivity. It's your connection with spirit, source, the divine, universe, God. I know I say this in every single reading, but we all have these energies of masculine and feminine within. And we've got this energy that's speaking louder, this innate wisdom, right, that's speaking. Now, if we don't want to feel, if we don't want to see it, we're just going to keep blaming everybody else for why things are the way that they are, right? So when we can look for the perspective, okay, what am I learning from this, and how can I grow from this, and what will I teach from it? Especially those who are following this channel as Earth Angels, the healers, the intuitives, the highly sensitive people, the empathic people of the world, right? You're learning how to set boundaries for yourself, how to strengthen your inner masculine, how to access deeper levels of wisdom. So for some of you, what you were doing in the past may not be working for you anymore. And it may be time for you to connect with guides, right? Beings of light to assist you. So this week, that's all I have. I've pulled out guides. So every single one of the guides may resonate with you. There might be one guide that will show up repetitively throughout this week, and so on and so forth, to assist you. But I'm feeling the guidance to assist you with connecting with these different vibrations to assist you on your journey. Who knows how often we'll be able to connect? Who knows what the internet's future is, what social media's future is, what communication is now, and what it will be like for the future. Now, this is definitely not a doom and gloom, like something bad's going to happen. That's not what I'm getting, but I am feeling like the readings for this last year has been helping you with insight and wisdom and reconnecting with the wisdom of your own heart and your own guidance for a reason. So I'm going to start with a guide from the Keepers of the Light deck, and then I'm going to pull from the Goddess Guidance Oracle Cards, and then I'm going to pull an Ascended Master, a card from the Angels and Ancestors deck, and then finally, I'm going to pull an Archangel card. So, I said my piece. We have Mars that just went retrograde in Aries. We have Jupiter that's going direct. There's a lot of planetary stuff that's happening right now. So, patience with yourself this week and extra gentleness, extra kindness. It's like put the sugar on top, sweeten up. Right? Sweeten yourself up in a healthy way. I'm not saying like pretend, but how can you soften and sweeten to open you up to a different perspective this week? All right, let me open up space, inviting in all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light who would like to assist with this guidance for us this week. And I'm going to ask that the messages that come through and the guides that come through be for your best and highest good and the best and highest good of all concerned. All right, so first off, Keepers of the Light. What guide wants to come forward this week? Bridget, inner strength. Move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. So this is speaking to the part that may feel like somebody else has the answers. Now, for example, the work that I do is I support people, I support clients in opening up to the wisdom that's already within them. So when I'm channeling, I am speaking to a part of them that they already know on some level but have forgotten. So I'm not telling people what to do, what they should or shouldn't do. I'm not, how do I explain it? I'm empowering them to remember what they already know, if that makes sense. And in turn, that opens up for the divine to flood in and create miracles, transformation, and change. So Bridget this week is reminding you that all the answers are within. Now, there's a difference between tell me what to do, I can't do this on my own, and hashing things out for support. And that's something I learned on my journey recently, is I have a network of people in my life that are an incredible support system, but never would they say, oh, Gladys, you need to do this, or you need to do that, or go do this and go do that. That's just not, that's just not, that's not support, right? It is the compassion and the empathy and the I understand that is the help, right? And it is the support that actually empowers me to stay strong and go to deeper levels, right? It's the support that I have that helps teach me things that I don't necessarily know. It's the wisdom that comes from experience. So if you're connecting with people and asking them for support, make sure that you're connecting with people who have their own inner strength, right? And that they're speaking from wisdom of understanding because they've been through it and experienced this. And this is exactly what Earth Angels are doing right now. You guys are going through this healing journey, this spiritual evolution to learn through books, right? You're learning from the world, you're learning from experiences, but by no means is that telling you what to do. You're learning, you're observing, you're taking information, and you're receiving guidance and insight from the divine, and eventually you'll be able to teach that, meaning you'll share that information, and the people who need it will be naturally aligned and attracted to that information. And this is how we're manifesting and creating from the feminine energy. Now, I know this is a lot. I know I'm just kind of scratching the surface. There's so many layers to what I'm saying. And so many of you are in different places on your spiritual journey. But above all, Bridget is going to be working with you this week to teach you about your own inner strength, what you can overcome, how you can move through things. This is going to happen in layers. It says move back to wholeness, right? Meaning the balance of the masculine and feminine within. This has been a common theme, at least for the last 6 months. It says recognize that you have the power, right? So the second we start to look for the answers outside of us, our power weakens, right? And this is where the ego consciousness can get in, right? And the fear and the worries. So understand that it's there for a reason. It's important. The ego is not something that we'll just get away from, but it can be a navigator for you on where you're at on your journey when you're listening and paying attention to it. So that ego part of me, I recognize what it feels like and I can pause in it and kind of swing back into the alignment with the wholeness of self, this divine person that I am, right? I'm a what do they say? Spiritual being having a human experience. So when I start to feel that ego start to creep in and the fears and the worries, it's an indicator immediately that I'm coming out of alignment with wholeness. I'm coming out of alignment within my natural essence. And this is where we talked last week about going with the flow, right? I've been hearing a lot. I want it this way. I want. And that is like the ego part that's resisting the natural flow, right? It's not good, bad, right, or wrong, positive or negative. It's just something to be aware of, right? As the ego consciousness of the world is amping up, right? I'm good, you're bad. I'm right, you're wrong. As that energy activates, it spills into the consciousness of the world. So earth angels are shifting that within ourselves. And as we do our own healing, right? The state of the world is a reflection of the inner work that the intuitives, the healers, the earth angels of the planet are doing, right? All this stuff needs to come up, right? As my statement in the beginning said, if you fast forward it to when I was pulling cards, what I said in the beginning was that in order for things to change, we need to be aware of what needs to change. And this is what's coming up. We don't want to see it, but we have to see it because we need to know where to start working and where to focus energy. And so Bridget, above all, is reminding you about your own inner strength, right? She's got this light at the heart center, right? It's no coincidence that we opened up with this beautiful Celtic divine feminine essence. Speaking of, let's pull a goddess. All right, what is the most important message from the goddesses? MUT Fairness. This situation will be handled in a fair and just manner. Oh, yes. So that part of like, I want, it's not fair. I'm feeling out of control. Her message is to invite her in, to bring balance. You see the justice scale here? It's about fairness and justice. This is what's happening in the world, right? How often are we saying it's not fair? It's not fair. And it's interesting too, because the white birds I always see as the Holy Spirit energy. And we have the beautiful lily coming in, the beautiful flowers. We got the Holy Spirit. Oh, wow, it's actually all over the card. This is more divine feminine than I realized. So understand the situation will be handled in a fair and just manner, not necessarily how you want it to unfold. but how it needs to in the divine plan. And that's really something that's hard for the ego to digest, because it's like, but, I thought, but. And so, and this is why flow and being in the rhythm of what's happening, and paying attention to how the universe is creating blocks and hiccups and bumps. I mentioned last weekend, I had plans, and my apartment had a different plan for me. It needed me to be here, and my feminine energy needed me to be home and taking care of myself. And so through a series of hiccups and bumps, instead of forcing it and trying to stay on plan on what I wanted to do, I really pulled out and surrendered into what was happening and said, okay, I'm listening. I'm home. I'll stay home. And as the week unfolded, I could see why it was so important for me to stay home last weekend. So, pay attention again. I'm going to say the same message as last week. Pay attention to how you're resisting, right? I want it to happen this way. And swinging back into, okay, Bridget and Matt, show me what I need to know about this situation. Surrendering to what is happening and not what we want. Because the more you try to force something, the more depleted and tired you're going to get. So the universe is really continuing to create this stillness and isolation, right? We're hearing it from all over. And I know it sounds daunting, but it's necessary, right? It's necessary for you to conserve and preserve your energy right now, because there are a lot of people right now who are spiritually awakening, who have been codependent in a lot of different ways. And so we're being asked to recharge, to pull out, to nurture and soothe ourselves, treat ourselves kindly, right? The constant pull of doing, have tos and shoulds. It's my responsibility. I need to keep going. That is just zapping people at an all-time high. And so how can you pull back this week and leave it up to the divine to figure out? This is like if you're trying to problem solve, or you're getting in the middle of conflict or drama. How can you pull out of it and leave it up to her? I mean, that's your power. Your power is being able to pull out of something and give it to the divine in full faith and trust that it's going to work out in a fair and just way. Ascended Master. Let's see. What is the most important Ascended Master that needs to come forth this week? So there's two. Drink more water. Water is very cleansing. So if you're feeling bound up, if you're feeling constipated, if you've been indulging in the pleasures of junk food, for the lack of a better word, it's okay. We've been grounding. A lot of earth angels have been grounding, and we've been feeling the energy shifts, and we've been needing to really create sustenance in our bodies. So Oshun is coming up to remind you to drink more water, flush out, cleanse yourself. I have this, it's like Epsom salts, but I think it's like magnesium stearate flakes, and I have a foot bath, and I just soaked my feet for a half hour in that. And I'll tell you, I just literally felt that energy shift. And by the time the foot bath was done, I was so tired, and it felt so good and cleansing, and I went right to sleep. So it doesn't necessarily mean drink more water in that sense, but maybe giving yourself a salt bath, a bath for yourself, maybe getting by the ocean. I know here in New England it's still beautiful, the weather is getting cooler. If you can get by the ocean, some of you this week may need cleansing, purification, and that's what water, I connect water with. So the other card, oh my God, purification, of course, right? White Tara. White Tara is who I usually connect with an aspect of Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is the goddess of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. It's beautiful that both these cards came up green. So if you look at these cards, not all of them are green. If you can see how there's like different aspects here, different vibrations. So the fact that two came out of the same color, it brings me to the heart chakra. So when there is heartache and betrayal in the heart chakra, we're immediately going to close that chakra and go right up into the head and mentalize everything. And that's where the ego can go awry. The imagination can run wild. And you can start, when that happens, you can get in your head and I want to say like make things up in your head. So it's like instead of communicating or asking questions, when the heart is shut down and we go up into our mind, we can overanalyze, overthink, and make things bigger than they are, right? And disconnect from the reality. So being mindful, right? This is what water will help you do. It'll flush you out. It'll purify your body. And White Tara, I feel like is coming in to heal the heart chakra, which obviously it's the energy of unconditional love. Like the positive vibration is unconditional love, but it's also connected to forgiveness of self. I know shame has been coming up for a lot of people, abandonment of self. Like how do you disregard your own intuition because you think other people know better? Or how do you possibly put your faith and trust in somebody else in like the 3D world and completely ignore your own radar, your own signals, your own insight, and your own guidance, right? That's kind of like the abandonment of self. So a lot of your divine feminine energies is calling you louder and louder and louder. And that comes out of feeling lonely and sad and depressed and depleted and angry. A lot of times it's an indicator. It's like that your divine feminine is calling you back to yourself, because when you feel that way, it's like a lot of people go into that space of isolation. And so if you can call in White Tara into that void, into that abyss, it can help you. And so really loneliness is a lie. So in the grand scheme of things, we're never alone. Never. The divine is always with us. That's that perspective that I was talking about the last few weeks about how the ego consciousness of the world wants you to see one as by yourself, alone, isolated, nobody cares, nobody's with you. The soul part of you, the divine part of you, wants you to see oneness as expansive, as we're all one on this planet and we're all moving together and we're all connected, right? So the word one, based on your perspective, can mean two different things or many different things. So when you start to feel that loneliness or that sadness, it's this part of you, right? This shadow part of you that's rearing up, that's lying to you, right? That you're alone. You're really not. And that is actually, once you can interrupt that liar and remind yourself, or call in the divine, right? Call in the divine. This is where Bridget comes in, right? Recognize, she's saying move back to wholeness. So when that energy kicks in, it's this part of you that wants to pull you away from your divine essence. And because when you do that, you're not in a place where you can create and manifest and laugh and play, right? So if you can notice that and be present with yourself and interrupt that part of you, and I just say, you're a liar, take a hike. And then I call in my guides, right? My powerful beings, and ask them to remind me what it's like to feel whole, fill me up to overflowing. And in that sense, I get purified. I remember, and this is why it's so important to connect if there is fellowship or church or a consciousness that you plug into. I know a lot of times at night, when I was going through my big transformation, I would turn on the TV and I would watch Joel Osteen, right? It's almost like God always spoke to him in a way that I needed it. There's so many preachers out there, healthy, empowered preachers that can feed your soul. This is why it's important to stay connected to this stuff, to stay connected to other people who are aligned and on the spiritual journey, who believe in faith and trust in God and Jesus and love and joy and peace, people who are on the mission, right? So when you get into this lonely or this lone space, we can fall into that trap of it's not fair, I'm powerless to my situation. So I feel like Oshun is saying, just stop by drinking some water and feeling the water flow down your throat into your stomach and just be with that. Those small baby steps over time will help you feel more whole and complete and empowered, because you're really going to need that for this last quarter of 2020. All right, so let's get into angels and ancestors. What is the most important message you need to hear, see, feel, and know this week? There's so many green energies, if you notice this week. Aspects of green. Okay, so there's two. Night. Be brave and honest. So I'm drawn to the words be honest. Where are you not being honest with yourself? Maybe it's denying your own power, your own mission on this planet. Where are you pretending? Oh, I'm fine. I don't need any help. I'm good. Maybe you are. Maybe you're really not. Maybe you don't even know. So you can call in the night this week for assistance. So being brave is really being able to look at yourself honestly. Where have you been fluffing yourself? Oh, and here comes the sirens with Michael. Where are you pretending? This is a week to really get honest. This is where your inner strength is going to come from. So I giggle because I'm well aware of my faults. And I know there's a lot that I haven't even seen yet. Oh, I don't know if you heard those sirens, but it was like a honk and a siren. So, and that's Michael. Help's on the way. You're not alone, right? Michael is like the leader of armies. Maybe he's the knight that's coming in, right? To help you be strong and power through. But it starts with being brave enough to look at your own stuff. Shadow work is beautiful. It is empowering. It's liberating. The healing journey isn't pleasant in the way we want it to be, but it's necessary. And as you continue to dig, as you continue to look at yourself, you're changing the planet. It's unsurfacing all this darkness that's been hitting for so long. It really is a beautiful thing. And so the night this week is teaching you about your own armor, right? Your own protection to protect your own physical body, right? So some of you, maybe it's setting boundaries. I keep hearing the words, I can't and I don't want to, right? So what are those can'ts? I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't have that degree, or I don't have the money. Like, where are you denying your own power, right? In the divine. So if you're having those thoughts, call in White Tarot to help purify your vibration this week. Water can help with this, right? Can assist you with the experiences to be fair and just, but it's not always going to work out the way we want it to. And then we have, yes, she-wolf. Unleash the wild within. It's interesting because last week, I was connecting with the wolf myself, and I actually posted an image on my Instagram and Facebook page that was very much like this. And I've been activating that wolf energy within me, my wisdom, my fire. Like, I have this pull to assist earth angels and empower the feminine energy on this planet. This is men and women, right? To access their intuitive gifts of insight, to be strong. The oppression of the feminine and seeing the energy of women and children, let's say, or feminine dominant people and children as a weaker species. I call it baloney. And so my mission is to empower myself, to find my own inner strength and my own power and be a force in that, right? The wolf energy can certainly survive on its own. Absolutely. But it's even more powerful with a group, right? With a pack. And so many of us have been learning to individualize and come into wholeness within, balancing our masculine and feminine energies. And as we do this, we become stronger and we naturally align to other earth angels who are whole and complete. And then we join forces together. Maybe it's romantic partnerships, maybe it's soul groups, maybe it's collaborations with work, and starting aligning. And those things, those people, places, things, and ideas will show up in your life. You don't have to hunt for them. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to do something to get something. As you align with this energy, you're like literally a magnet calling it to you. It is pretty incredible. Unleash the wild within. I feel like some of you too, that's your emotions, right? Where have you been saying, I'm fine, that's not me. Well, this week it'll probably come up, especially with Mars and Aries, right? If you're seeing it in your external world, then chances are it's mirroring something within you. So how are you being overly dominant with yourself? Or how are you negating your own inner feminine wisdom? How are you denying your own power? Now, this is just inquiry questions. It's just something to sit with and saying, okay, show me. And that's where Bridget can help you become more empowered. And once you know this stuff, it is a purification of the body. Once you get the hits, once you get the awareness, you're like, I see it now. And then this dynamic force gets activated. And then that's where the mission comes on. That's where creation comes, creating things, right? Working, using your voice, setting boundaries, asking for what you need, standing in your power. It's happening. It's really powerful. And there's no coincidence. This is the moon energy, right? The moon is the shadow. I believe we're going into the new moon soon, probably this week, I believe. I think there was like 4 or 5 days left until we hit the new moon, right? So the new moon is about the shadow, the unseen. So more stuff might come up this week. So have patience with yourself, right? Take it easy. Be compassionate instead of, like I said, annihilating and feeling overwhelmed and despondent. If you're getting anxious or you're feeling the energy activated within you, how can you self-soothe and ask yourself, okay, I'm getting anxious right now. What do I need? What are my needs? Or how are my needs not being met? You have to be proactive, right? I just keep seeing that oxygen mask, right? When you're on a plane, they say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you can help others, right? If you're not getting oxygen, you are not going to be able to, or energy or sustenance from the divine, there's no way you're going to be able to help other people, right? So feed yourself first this week in whatever way that looks. And let me finish with an angel. What is the most important message you need to hear, see, feel, and know from the archangels this week? what? I'm just going to go with the top one here. I'll show you the bottom of the deck in a minute. Of course. Oh my God, there's the Justice Scale again. Do you see how it's a little out of balance? So, where is it? I mean, this is in balance. This one kind of isn't. So it's divine order. It says everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order. So you might get this feeling that it's not fair. It's out of alignment, right? Matt is reminding you to invite them in, right? So this is Raguel. Raguel is also the angel of fairness and justice, right? Ooh, this is a big message this week. So it's all an illusion, right? It's our perception of things. So how can you ask? It's no coincidence. It's the same colors here, and which is the throat chakra, right? So how can you stand in your power to the things that are not fair? Maybe some of you are being your world is imposing unrealistic expectations on you, right? How do you set a boundary? How does this she-wolf come out of you, right? And saying, hey, wait a minute. No, it's not that I can't do this. I don't want to anymore. Boundaries, right? Raguel is the angel that helps with relationship harmony or conflict. You can also add Archangel Raphael in that as well. So if you're having challenges with people in your life, pull back, regroup, right? So part of the work that I do is I help people see, and that's the shadow work that I do. I mean, I'm obviously a very moon dominant, divine feminine energy. I mean, my sun, moon, rising, and Mercury is all Cancer. So my gift is to be able to see the unseen. And that's what I do is I shine a light on the patterns, the repetition that people aren't necessarily seeing because they're so enmeshed in it. This is why I need it for myself, right? Even though I can do this for other people, I'm also human too, and it's hard for me to see it within myself. This is why my support system is so important, because they can reflect back to me, right? Hey, you know what? I noticed that every time this happens, you feel this way. Or, hey, you know what? This seems to be like every time this month this happens. Or, hey, this is just because of blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. How did I forget that, right? Because I'm human. So having support, like I said, in that sense is empowering. But if you have work responsibilities or home dynamics or you're caretaking, things can come out of alignment really quick, right? So how can you create divine order in your life? And this, you might not have the answers. A lot of times the problems, the solutions we're seeking are way beyond the human experience. This is why it's so important to call in the divine and ask them for assistance, because there may be things and answers and guidance that you could be getting that you're unaware of, but it does require you to pause, right? One of the things that I've been writing all these topics that I want to speak on a podcast, and I've been really working on my own life and trying to get my own stuff in order. But one of the topics that keeps coming up is, if you're not sure what the answer is or how to solve a problem, wait a minute. And that's it, because the answers are in between the problem and the solution. And when we can tap into the space in between the problem and the solution, that's where the answer is. But we have to create some kind of space, which comes from regular practices of nurturing, soothing. Gabriel, right? As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now, right? Nurturing, soothing, drinking your water, purifying your mind, body, spirit. Purifying can also be staying away from aggressive, disruptive TV drama, right? I mean, it's really common for earth angels to get addicted to drama and not even realize it or know it. And this is like the hits of like drama or TV or foods that are going to make us feel bad, right? It's kind of like those highs and lows of the self-sabotage in a way. So let me put this over here. So nurturing yourself this week, is, I think, overall, the pathway to connecting with that inner wisdom then. And also too, I also see your guides this week doing this to you at night, right? So how do you go into that womb space in a loving, gentle way, in a peaceful way, in a safe space this week? Even sitting and meditating on the word nurture. If you're rejecting that word because like maybe you didn't grow up with a mother, or maybe you had a critical mother, or your relationship with your mother wasn't nurturing, or maybe your relationship with your mother was codependent or overly nurturing, or maybe it was narcissistic, maybe that maternal energy isn't this for you. So how can you go higher and connect with the divine mother, right? To nurture and soothe you. So Maya Angelou is somebody that I personally connect with, the nurturer. The woman spoke soothing words. The way she spoke, the way she used language and words were so nurturing and comforting and compassionate. I mean, the woman embodied the divine feminine. And she had a really hard, difficult upbringing, constant oppression of her power and her light. And she was able to use that pain and transform it into her power. And this is what so many of us are doing on this planet, men and women. And those of you that are men watching this and you're going through this transformation in your spiritual journey, the divine, the feminine essence within you is calling you back, right? So I thank you for showing up to this. You're healing generations, just like the females or feminine dominant people watching this are transforming generations, eons of old programming, old ways of doing things. And it's not easy. It's painful. But if you can actually value the pain, if you can actually see the pain as what healing looks like, you'll be less afraid of it, and it will lessen the impact and move and speed up the recovery process. So thank you for showing up to this work. Thank you for being open. Thank you for listening. Maybe you're watching this and it might not make sense. This is an intention of what's to come. So check in throughout the week with this reading and see how it resonates. I tend to go through things sometimes weeks, sometimes years before things happen, so I can speak to it, so I can assist people through it and teach them what I learned, right? And I'm only going to attract the people who are open to the information that I have to offer, because it'll feel like truth for them. And this is why many different earth angels on this planet are awakening and sharing their gifts, because your upbringing, your pain, and what you've learned, there's people out there that are awakening that need what you have to offer. But if you're not working on your own healing journey, and you're trying to take care of everybody else, you're going to get zapped real quick and angry and ornery and bitter and resentful. And it's not bad, because it's the pathway to growth and getting better. So anyway, I just feel like I'm fired up. I'm so passionate about, like I said, this growth that the planet is going through. So again, thank you so much for showing up. It's no coincidence that all these cards came into perfect alignment this week from 5 different decks, right? Fairness, justice, purification, water, inner power, she-wolf, right? Divine order, fairness and justice, and then overall, inner child. That's where the shadow work is, right? Your childhood, going back to the parents. But I also would like to encourage you to reconnect and reestablish your relationship with the Divine Mother and Divine Father, whatever that means to you. And sometimes that comes from creating space and stillness and saying, okay, God, show me. Okay, Divine Mother, show me. Mother Nature, go out in nature. Allow those energies to harmonize and integrate within you so that you're feeling it. And you have to feel it in your physical body. You can't mentalize and intellectualize this. You have to bring it down into your physical body and allow yourself to feel on all levels, to cleanse and purge and release. Ooh, and then give it to Mother Nature. God bless her. she's going through stuff herself. So, all right, let me close space here. Let me thank all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light that assisted with this guidance for you today. I want to thank all the beings of light that showed up on the table, angels, guides, and I'm going to ask that any healing that was started today continue for as long as it needs to be done. On all levels, in all dimensions and time. And so it is. All right, friends, if you need that extra support, my video sessions are still available online. They're still discounted. Everything will probably go back in October. I know I keep saying that, but it just kind of gets pushed out. My office is still closed. So connect with me. If you connect with me once or many times, you'll receive so much support, right? Remember, I can't do it for you. I can't go in and change your life, but the information that's getting channeled is life-changing for so many. So thank you for letting me be part of your time, your day, your energy. I appreciate it. I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine. Trust your intuition. And I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now.